IB stands for International Baccalaureate, and Cambridge for Cambridge Assessment International Education. We are speaking about Cambridge Assessment International Education today. Okay, let's get into it. So there are about 1 million students in over about 10,000 Cambridge schools studying in 160, over 160 countries. Now it is 164 countries, I believe, that Cambridge is offered. So is it a wise decision to plunge into Cambridge? Yes, if you're ambitious. Exploring Cambridge definitely is a wise decision. See, like you are teaching in a state board school, your scope is limited to that particular state. If you have experience in that state curriculum, you're teaching CBSE. Of course, it's a wonderful board, but then your scope is limited to where CBSE is being offered. CBSE is offered, I think, in 14 or 15 countries. That's it, and most of the CBSE schools are in India. ICSE, of course, the same thing. But Cambridge gives you this possibility of working in over 162 countries in the world, provided you're thorough with what you do. So, yes, the Cambridge Assessment International Education is a part of the Cambridge University, which is in the UK, in London, of course. Yeah, it's about 100. It has got a history of 150 years, right? Now, what about international recognition of the Cambridge programs? Sometimes teachers working in other boards, parents, students, they ask us, okay, I am going to join a Cambridge school. Is my Cambridge qualification, if I pass grade 10 from Cambridge or grade 12 from Cambridge, is it going to be recognized? It is internationally recognized over 195 countries in the world. See, the thing is, for your understanding, let me tell you, like you're doing, say, a state board or a CBSE board, a student is doing a state board. Then when he applies to a foreign university, mostly he will have to produce an equivalency certificate before that university. But students doing a Cambridge curriculum, they don't have to do it in most cases, because Cambridge is already recognized and accepted by, see, you can see it written there, over 1,400 institutions across 195 countries. Any of the Ivy League universities, any of these, the best universities in the world, Cambridge qualification, if the results are good for your students, will work as a passport to most of these universities, right? Now, what is Cambridge Pathway? So, as I said in the beginning, today this is only an introductory meeting, and I'll take you through the Cambridge program. If you've never heard about it, you're going to get an understanding of what it is, right? And in the coming meetings, we will explore them one by one. Today, probably in the meeting, we may have teachers who would like to work in the primary wing, in the middle school, in the secondary school, or in the senior secondary school. But we are not going to plunge into any of them in particular. I'll give you a general understanding, and then in the coming meetings we'll have specific topics, like Cambridge primary we can discuss one day, then secondary, like that. No, in fact, it starts with, in my slide, it starts with the Cambridge primary, but there is also Cambridge early learners program, which is newly introduced for 3 to 6 year old children. There is something called Cambridge early learners. This PPT I can share with you. You can also download it if you want from the Cambridge website. Otherwise, you can make a note of these points if you would like to. Especially if you're asking any doubts in the chat room, my colleague will keep clarifying it, right? For now, we will talk about Cambridge primary, lower secondary, upper secondary, and Cambridge advanced. See, Cambridge learners can take board examinations in grade 5, grade 8, grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. Cambridge primary is basically what we call grade 5, okay? Grade 1 to 5. And then Cambridge lower secondary is grade 6 to 8. Cambridge upper secondary, which is called the IGCSE or O level, is grade 9 and 10. It is grade 9 and 10 put together. And then Cambridge advanced level is grade 11 and 12. Let's see them in some detail. No, we will not go much in detail, in some detail. We don't have that kind of time today. That is why I thought okay, let's discuss it let's have an understanding of how it works. Imagine you are, you have a student studying a Cambridge primary program. What will he be learning? There are 10 different subjects that the schools can choose at Cambridge primary level, which means at the grade 5 level, grade 4, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, this level, at the primary level, there are 10 subjects available, including English, math, science, all these, yeah, a computer, global perspective. There are many sciences. When we many subjects, when we discuss Cambridge primary in detail in one of our next coming up meetings, I'll give you a better understanding of Cambridge primary subjects available, why students should choose these subjects, or what are the subjects in demand and things like that, how it will help them in future. We can go in detail later. For now, please do understand that there are 10 subjects available and none of these subjects are compulsory. So to say compulsory, but then see, we know that sciences, maths, English, etc., all students take in primary level, especially in India, like there's a craze for these subjects, right? Like sciences. Now, how are these children assessed? There are two ways the children are assessed. We call them Cambridge primary progression test or Cambridge primary checkpoint. That the school decide, okay, if you join a Cambridge school, if you join a Cambridge school as a teacher, the school decides whether to go for Cambridge primary progression test or Cambridge primary checkpoint. Some schools do go for both. Primary checkpoint examinations are board examinations. I mean, even progression test question papers you get from the board. But if a school takes primary checkpoint, it works more like a diagnostic assessment. It aims to assess the strengths and weaknesses of your learners. They give you a report after. So most of these papers are corrected in back at Cambridge in the UK. So your school will conduct the exams here and send the papers to them. They will correct and then give you a report. See, what happens is, like in most of our schools, students take examinations and then we give them marks, and the parents' only understanding is based on what the school tells them. But when it comes to Cambridge primary, the parents don't have to depend always on what the school tells about the students. Sometimes what happens is, like this, the school gives false reports also possible, right? If they want to keep admissions and all that. If you're working in a private school, you know how it happens mostly. So if your school chooses to take a checkpoint examination at that age, parents will get to know, okay, this is where my child actually is. And this report doesn't go from the school, right? It goes from Cambridge. So that is about Cambridge primary assessment. Let's move on to Cambridge lower secondary, which is called Cambridge lower secondary checkpoint. Again, here you have 10 subjects. This is a natural progression from Cambridge primary. That does not mean students who have not learned a Cambridge primary program cannot do a Cambridge secondary lower secondary program. They can. So, like if students from different boards join grade 6,
you take your pant and shirt.
It'll be nice. It'll be kind of you if you can have
your. Go ahead and use whatever you wish.
Right. So yeah, right. Okay, so here again you have you have 10 different subjects to choose from, and see till 2023, if you're joining a Cambridge school now, you will be following what I'm going to say now. But from 2023, there's a change. You need to keep that in mind. If you're going to join a school now, probably if you're teaching the middle school, your students will be taking the exam after 2023. From then on, students will be assessed based on what they learn in grade 8 alone. That is the third year of the lower secondary program. But till then, till like this year and the next year, so far it has been different. It has been different. Students had to be assessed based on what they learned in grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8. So there were certain questions that the students will have to answer from what they learned in grade 6. And this assessment, Cambridge Lower Secondary Assessment, happened at the end of grade 8. I can just mute that participant for a sec. Okay, done. Right. And see, these Cambridge programs are compatible with other curricula. You know, like in my school, we offer social studies, subjects like social studies, whereas social studies is actually not a subject that Cambridge offers. Why do we do it? It's like this. See, sometimes your parents could be kind of confused whether to do a Cambridge program or a CBSE program, IB, or which board. Yeah? So what if they want to just try, explore Cambridge? Then it's a wonderful idea. You give them the subjects that would also help them, you know, move from Cambridge to any other board in case they want to in future. Right. Cambridge Lower Secondary also, you have these two possibilities of assessing children: Cambridge Lower Secondary Progression Test and Cambridge Lower Secondary Checkpoint. Most schools take Cambridge Lower Secondary Checkpoint. These exams are also available on a computer based or pen and paper. The school decides as to what kind of exams is to be given. Again, here these assessments are more, you know, more or less diagnostic in nature. They're diagnostic in nature. Their aim basically is to identify the strengths and the weaknesses of the learner. So say in science, for example, Cambridge gives you a detailed report of what areas the student is strong at and where the student is weak, where you have to pay more attention to. Yeah. Also, it works more like an international benchmark. See, like these exams are being taken by students all over the world. So you would know where your students are when compared to other students from other parts of the world. Say, for example, you have a 14-year-old learner, and if that learner takes this exam, then his grades can be compared with other students from other countries. So you get, it also works like a benchmark assessment. And of course, the parents will get a detailed reporting, right? Now, these lower secondary checkpoint exams, they work as an excellent preparation for the IGCSE program, for the grade 9-10 program. Yeah, right. Now we move on to the upper secondary, which is called the IGCSE or the O levels. They both are, IGCSE and O levels are offered to 14 to 16-year-old students. In India, we have mostly, most schools offering, I believe all schools offering IGCSE. Maybe there are some schools offering O levels. They're pretty much same. Look, this Cambridge IGCSE program is world's most popular international qualification for 14 to 16-year-old learners. About 8 lakh entries every year from over 150 countries. Cambridge IGCSE is a very flexible program. You know, like now CBSE is also becoming very flexible with the new NEP. If you've gone through, you know that they're going to offer more subjects from grade 9 and they're going to allow students to choose their subjects. Cambridge has always been doing it. There are 70 subjects, most of them are languages, but other than that also there are many subjects, and the students can take in any combination, anyhow. Like maybe a student can take say physics with economics in grade 9, yeah, with math, physical education, PE is a subject, art and design is a subject. So there are so many subjects and students can choose as they like. Yeah, of course, there are limitations. If the students are with a regular school, then a regular school cannot appoint, like too many teachers and then offer all these subjects. So there are limitations. But as far as Cambridge is concerned, there are 70 subjects that they are offering. Right. Now, about Cambridge assessment, IGCSE assessment. IGCSE is basically a 2-year program. Okay, it's a 2-year program, grade 9 and 10, which means students don't buy new textbooks at the, like when they are in grade 10. It is one textbook. Like say, for example, in mathematics, they buy one book when they are in grade 9 and they do 50% of the book in grade 9 and the remaining in grade 10, and they take the board examination at the end of grade 10. So what most schools in India do is they finish off about 60 to 70% of the syllabus when the children are in grade 9, and then the remaining in grade 10, and then use the remaining time for revision so that the children can score well. It's not that easy to score in a Cambridge exam. Like if you compare with, again for your understanding, I'm saying like CBSE is of course a wonderful board, no doubt, but for your understanding, like if you look at the percentage of students scoring 90% above in CBSE and in Cambridge, it will be much less in Cambridge because it's not that easy to score. Assessments are like languages, for example, if students take French or English as a second language, they have oral assessments, written exams, coursework. All these are possible. There are different multiple options, multiple ways students are being assessed. Yeah. Also at IGCSE, in certain subjects they offer core and extended. Means students who are good at that subject can take extended papers, and students who are kind of slightly struggling, they can take what we call core. If you're from CBSE background, you know that last year CBSE introduced it in math. They call it basic math and standard math. Likewise, Cambridge offers core and extended in many subjects, and students are graded from A star to G, A star being the highest. Okay. Right. Now the Cambridge A levels, advanced level. A level means advanced level. See, the grade 11 and 12 program is called the Cambridge Advanced Level. Some students take the board examination at the end of grade 11 and at the end of grade 12. This Cambridge Advanced Level is one of the most flexible boards that you will ever come across. Yeah, no other board is as flexible as this. Like IB is not this flexible because they have, your children are forced to take 6 subjects there, right? So CBSE also, no other board is this flexible as Cambridge. Here, students can do just 2 subjects to any number of subjects. Board is offering about 55 subjects. Cambridge offers about 55 subjects, and students can choose any number of them in any combination. So like sometimes students, they choose subjects like psychology or art and design, whatever they like, they can choose. Anyways, you should please explore the syllabus of these Cambridge advanced level programs. They are so research based, so up to date. Every 2 years the syllabus gets updated. Cambridge syllabus, this has been my experience. Every 2 years we will see the syllabus getting updated. Yeah, this develops deep subject knowledge, conceptual understanding, and higher order thinking skills. One thing I do know about the Cambridge as A-level exams is this: like if a student scores a B grade, it means a 70%, or say an A grade, an 80%, that actually means the student has not only learned the concepts but also has imbibed the skills to apply those concepts in real life. That is how the questions are set mostly. See, but this same cannot be applied to some other boards where students, even if they cannot apply what they learn, they can by heart write in the exam and score marks. Here, which is not possible. Yeah, right. I was just mentioning about the assessment options. See, it's very interesting. Choice of 3 assessment options, like students can take say a staged approach wherein they take first AS level. Cambridge AS level means Cambridge Advanced Subsidiary level, which means they take one board exam at the end of grade 11 and then at the end of grade 12, or they can take, another option is for them to take all the exams together, all the board exams together at the end of grade 12. Yeah. Now, Cambridge conducts 3 different exam series. Like they conduct board exams in February, March, but in February, March, it is basically only for India. This time they're conducting for some other countries like Nepal and all because of the COVID situation. Now, in Feb, March, in May, June, in October, November, there are 3 different examination series, and students can take the exams any time of the year. Yeah, if a particular school decides, okay, let our students take the exam in the June series, then they can take the exam in the June series. Yeah, if like in India, most schools take the exam in March series, so because CBSE conducts the exam around that time, right? So that is also possible. Now, is it possible for a student to take, say, 1 or 2 subjects in March and the remaining 1 or 2 subjects in June? That is also possible. They can take it anyhow. Yeah, right.